Hi guys. So, Return to Drangleic it's back. It's happening. Um, we're back on Dark Souls 2, playing around, having a great time. Um, I have managed to do quite a bit of Dark Souls 2 in the last week, which was the first of 2 weeks of Return to Drangleic. Um, And the reason I've been able to play so much is because I have had what turns out to be bronchitis. So I will be editing out a lot of coughing, I'm sure, from this voiceover. Um, yeah, it's been pretty fun so far. The build that I'm running on this event um, is a hexing build focused around the Pilgrim Spontoon. I only just got it today. This is Monday, the 6th of March. So we are halfway through the event. And I've only just gotten the weapon that I was planning to use. Yeah, I think most of the footage that I've managed to capture throughout this has been um, Bellkeeper PvP, because I managed to get a lot of invasions in Belfry Luna um, during this playthrough. But we've got a little bit of co-op in here as well. uh, yeah, not a whole lot to say here. There was for a while I had thought that people had kind of forgotten about the event or something. But then I managed to get just a shit ton of invasions in the Belfry. Um, and just realized, okay, well, I just wasn't in the right place yet to get some online play going. Yeah. Um, we we managed to get quite a few invasions, and there's co-op basically everywhere if you're at the right soul memory. First few clips here are going to be me using just the fire longsword that you get in the Forest of Fallen Giants, before I eventually upgrade to a dark mace. And I'll use that until I get my Pilgrim's Spontoon that I can use. I feel like my build is not especially, you know, unique as far as builds go. It is, it's similar to the basic ass blue flame hybrid caster build that everyone and their mother has ever done. But the Pilgrim Spontoon is different from the Blue Flame in that it is a spear and it can cast hexes. So that's the sort of idea that I was going with behind this build. Was I wanted to do a dark version of the classic Blue Flame spellcaster swordsman build. And yeah, we've got some classic Dark Souls 2 4-person co-op going on here. I love that gesture. That is my favorite gesture in any of these games. Quite honestly, I use it all the time. It's just like lighthearted and almost mocking enough to be really funny. I think I was trying to lock onto this person for like literally 50% of the last 30 seconds until I realized that they're also a bell keeper. This poor host, I think, is the one. Yeah, he tries to black crystal us out. Unfortunate. Poor little guy. I feel bad almost for what we've done to him. I think the most fucked up thing about hexes in this game is that they do, in fact, uh, deal stamina damage when you hit somebody with them. So you can just sap somebody's stamina out if they're blocking, and just guard break them by throwing dark orbs at them. The thing about the Pilgrim's Spontoon is that it counts as a staff. And chimes, or hexes rather, are divided into two types. The type that you cast with a staff, and the type that you cast with a chime. And I tend to generally prefer the type of hex that is cast with a chime. Resonant Soul and Great Resonant Soul clear dark beat every time for me, even if they do cost souls to use. And Scraps of Life is just a really good spell. A lot of these chime hexes, I feel like they just have the stat requirements are too high. I don't want to level like 50 intelligence to use Affinity and Dark Blade or Dark Greatsword or whatever. But yet I'm going to anyway on this character. You can lower the requirement of that type of stuff in this game using the spices. So that's nice, at least. But like Affinity does not work well with low stats. You need all of those projectiles. Always very scary to run into a Sentier Spear user. But yeah, not a big deal. Not a big deal if you're as powerful as me. I like that literally 12 of these clips start exactly the same way. Because there's two places to invade in Belfry Luna, I think. Maybe just one. And frequently it's just right there. It's just right there. The fall damage is brutal. Unfortunate for this guy. I did have an invasion at one point here in the Belfry where I fell through the same hole like 4 times. So it's not always sunshine for the bell keepers. And I didn't have the silver cat ring at this point, so Dream, as you will recall, is the guy that I invaded earlier, who was so unfathomably laggy that it took several seconds for my hits to register. Yeah, just a lot of fun coming back to this game. I like that the Belfry is frequently pretty active when the game is active, because even people who don't like doing PvP, um, it's a good idea to come to the Belfry because you will get Titanite chunks if you kill a Bellkeeper, or you'll get Titanite chunks if you kill a host as a Bellkeeper. So it's a nice incentive for like early game PvP, because you can get a nice fully upgraded weapon and crush the rest of the game if you've got what you want to use. This fucking guy was such a pain to fight, because it's just I have no idea if I'm hitting him or not. The dark weapon here, like early game, is an absolute menace. It does so much. It adds so much damage to your attacks, and even when you're fighting someone who's not from the fucking moon, you can be extremely effective at just destroying them. I got jump scared here. Like this guy just starts fucking zooming in the same direction I'm going. I don't intend to use the Aura set for the entire game. It's just like the most scary, dark looking armor set that I could get at this point in the game. So that's what I've got equipped. I like it though. I never really use it, but I do like it. It's pretty cool looking. The mace is honestly just like an absolute champion weapon type in this game. It really does work. I've had very little situations come up where it doesn't just clear everything. The reach is kind of short, but it's never much of a problem unless you are fighting an enemy or another player that just kind of tends to backpedal. And sometimes in PvE you will you'll knock you'll like knock an enemy so far back that you won't be able to hit them with the follow-up, and that's unfortunate. But you know, everything has a drawback in this game. Most things do. Katanas don't. Most things do though. Speaking of katanas, there's a really fun bit later on in this video that involves them. I run into a mad warrior, basically. First time I enter Belfry Soul, there's a mad warrior there. It's very, very cool, and I got it on recording. Yippee! I always hate when people summon the Shade. He's so tanky. He's so hard to deal with, because you can't, this was before you could heal as an invader. Well, you could heal using spells, but you couldn't actually heal, you know? There was no flask healing. The lack of flask healing. I'm doing now what I should have done earlier in this invasion and try to run an up. But I realized that the door is open and he could just go into the boss fight, so I'm kind of cornered and I can't really do much. I think I was going to say something, but I forgot. Oh well. Pitfalls of not scripting anything that I ever do. Yeah, the mace is usually pretty good in almost every situation. I don't know. Did none of those do damage? I feel like none of those did damage. That's kind of wild. Oh yeah. Hexes are also really good for knocking people off of ladders, because they do that stamina damage. So if somebody's trying to climb a ladder away from you, you can just fucking suck them back down to the bottom with your hexes and knock them down. Really, hexes were just fucking insanely overpowered in this game. It was great. It was awesome. How far the in-faith build has fallen to get to where it is in Elden Ring, where it's just fucking. I like when I have to like look around, because Belfry Luna is not a big area, but sometimes people manage to elude me a little bit in this place regardless. The mace backstab animation in this game is so cool. And the spear one too. Like there's so much to be said, I think, for having unique animations for every single weapon type's critical animation, and I feel like it's such an underrated aspect of this game. A lot of these invasions are kind of just me showing up in somebody's game and killing them in 2 hits. But that's sort of just how PvP is in this game. If they can't heal, like if you're unable to heal, you just kind of end up killing people real fast. Estus heals you slowly, and the animation of using it is slow. So, it's very, very easy to punish, too. If you're not doing what I'm doing here, which is shooting hexes directly into a wall. A little more co-op. Like, I recall being repeatedly amazed by how little damage my summon does here with his Drangleic sword. What a cool greatsword, by the way. This game absolutely best game ever made for introducing this the spinny greatsword moveset to this series. Giving us my absolute favorite Elden Ring invasion weapon, the Knight's Greatsword, eventually, as well as Dark Souls 3's Hollow Slayer and all that. I'm honestly shredding every single enemy that I come across on this build with the mace, because basically everything in Dark Souls 2 is weak to strike damage, and they're also, like, there's very few enemies that are weak to, or that are not weak to, or resistant to dark. So a dark mace kind of just destroys everything. Similar to the Sacred Chime Hammer, which I almost made a build around this time, but I've used it before in the distant past, so I decided instead to just go for something I'd never used before, which is the Pilgrim Spontoon, for a little hybrid build. The Pilgrim Spontoon does appear in this video, but only at the very end. Because it's in Broom Tower, and it took me all this time to to the point where I could even get it and use it. Because it also requires 30 int and 30 faith to even wield. It's pretty good though. It's I haven't had the chance to test it out a whole lot. It's very, very short for a spear, but you know it has that that casting attribute to it. So you can make up for its short range by like shooting a dark orb, or you know, mixing up with other spells. I don't have a lot of hexes right now either. You don't get many of the really good staff hexes until either late in the game or just straight up in the DLC. Like Affinity, you need 40 int to use it, and even then it's not strong until you have more than that. And then there's like Dark Greatsword, which is another one that I want to use. Inexplicably requires like 2 or 3 attunement slots, and you don't get it until a bit through Shulva. I think you need to at least clear Lair of the Imperfect to get it. So yeah, a lot of the stuff I want to use in this build is pretty like backloaded. There were 2 potential paths that I could have taken on this character. Initially, I wanted to either use the Pilgrim's Spontoon or do a Cyan's Halberd build with the dark weapon buff. So sort of a quality builds, but with a little bit of those hexer stats, which would have been like pretty awkward to actually level, but I think would have been pretty good. In any case, though, my plan was if I like if I had gotten a Cyan's Halberd to drop from the one right before No Man's Wharf or the one in Huntsman's Copse, I would have used it. And failing that, I just use the Pilgrim's Spontoon eventually. And the latter ended up happening. I'm a Pilgrim's Spontooner now. So more on that next week, I think, as far as Pilgrim's Spontoon goes. I won't have as much time to play and record, but there's less to record at this point. I'm just gonna get through the rest of the game, basically. Do some co-op, do some duels at the Iron Bridge eventually. I always forget about this stupid Muppet that runs at you as soon as you go through the fog gate. And what was I even saying? Right, yes, more next week, and you'll actually see the build begin to sort of take shape. Because really, right now, it's just the mace show. Because maces in this game are honestly just so good. Speaking of, it would be kind of fun to use the Mace of the Insolent as well in this game, because that's another weapon that can cast hexes. But I may not do that. We'll see. We'll be doing lots of stuff. I don't know. I'm kind of rambling. I've run out of things to talk about, and there's 5 more minutes in the video. Um, but yeah, that bronchitis that I've been having, pretty bad. Been coughing for the last week. I was on vacation the week before last, and got to spend a lot of time with my girlfriend Callie, which has been lovely. And then I got sick, and then I got bronchitis, and I haven't been able to work for another week, which has been like I don't like working, per se, but I would have liked to have gotten better during this week, and not experience the week that I ended up experiencing. And it took me 3 days to see a doctor. Also, 3 whole days to see a doctor. Terrible stuff. Ridiculous country that I live in. And it may be just partially just because of the province that I live in, having sort of a healthcare shortage, but also just a poorly functioning medical system in this country. Just terrible. Like, the clinics are overflowing. This guy, actually, absolutely fucking ridiculous. Gets hit once, turns on the cheats, can't do any more damage to him. Imagine, like, I don't understand the like mindset that leads a person to cheat in Dark Souls 2 in 2023. Like, what are you doing? Why? What are you afraid of in Belfry Soul? Do you just turn on cheats, like, anytime anything damages you? Why don't you just leave them on in that case? Just be invincible the whole time. Who gives a shit? It's just... I could never understand this type of person. Like, I get cheating, like using mods or whatever the hell in a single player game, completely offline single player game. But this is literally, it's Dark Souls 2. I don't understand why, like, how you can be so afraid of playing the game that you have a button to turn off gameplay whenever you want. It's ridiculous. I'll never understand it. I don't want to understand it. I think here I was looking through my inventory to see if I had any fucking corrosive urns, because he should receive some sort of penalty for behaving this way. But as is, there's no consequences for this type of shit. Oh well. Different species. It's just completely ridiculous. Makes no sense to me. But all in all, stupid shit aside, I've had a really great time so far with this Return to Drangleic event. I feel like I have missed out on the past, like, 2 years of these. But this time, I got to do it, and it's been lovely. I kind of thought that people might be forgetting about it because of, like, it's Elden Ring's anniversary, so people are making content about that. But I'm glad that there's still some Return to Drangleic action going on in the community. It's been quite populated this first week of the event, and I'm always happy to see that, because this is my favorite Dark Souls game. As you know, if you've watched anything that I've made for any length of time. But anyway, yeah, I'll see you next week with another video, more rambling and some fun stuff with the focal point of my build. Entirely unused.